You've got a ball-dominant guard, and there was already one there named James Harden. And Paul leaves, and Westbrook goes, and you wonder, what's the combination add up to? You believe it could add up to what?
A championship, potentially. I mean, I feel different about this team again,
Why?
just like the Celtics, because I think Russell Westbrook brings, number one, he brings a competitive will that I think they lacked. Look, you can criticize his late-game decision-making, some of the shots he takes, some of the turnovers he has, all those things. I mean, tonight he had 4 fouls in the first quarter, for goodness sake, okay? It's almost impossible to do. But the one thing you can't ever question is how bad does he want to win? And it affects everybody on the roster. So just from a competitive will standpoint, I think they're better. But the other thing is, it's the best thing ever happened to him. He doesn't have to make all those late-game decisions. They have a guy to do that. So instead, let's use him what he's good for, which they didn't have, which is that speed up the floor. More shooters than he's ever played with, certainly in Oklahoma City. So his speed is now more of a factor than it ever was with the Thunder. And that offense never had that before. So now you have the best of both worlds.
And the furious competitive edge is what I think. I hear everything you're saying, but I think that alone's got to be worth something. And you see and hear a little bit out of that afterwards when he had this to say about a guy on the other side that's got a pretty nice mean streak to him.
Have Bev trick y'all, man. Like, he play defense. He don't guard nobody, man. Just running around doing nothing. It's not. As you've seen, what happened, 47. All that commotion to get 47.
Says Patrick Beverley doesn't guard anybody, just runs around. What do you say?
Well, a little context here, right? You know, Patrick is the guy that put him out of the playoffs one year, diving for a ball on a timeout.
Right, and those guys have had to be for years.
Ever since, right? It's been something that he knows. Pat's over there, and Russ is here. And tonight, it had to be kind of fun for Russ Westbrook, though, to know that Patrick Beverley was the guy that was picking up James Harden 94 feet, and Russ didn't have to deal with that too much tonight.
No.
It was Patrick on James. James had his way tonight with whoever was on him. I mean, he's on a level right now offensively, the way he's controlling these games. You got to go back probably to Jordan, to anybody that's controlled games offensively the way that James Harden is. 37 points tonight between threes and free throws. I mean, think about that.
Well, we're old school guys, and Jordan, for us, is the guy. But I think that Harden, just the way he plays offensively, has more tricks in the bag than Jordan has.
And I think he's the only guy that has the physical combination, physical traits and skill to play this way. You could put any guy in that system.
Yep.
They're not doing what he's doing right now. I think he's got that unique combination of strength and skill that allows him to do it.
And add IQ to the mix, because he just figures out what he's going to do, and then he does it. It's pretty hard to stop.
And I like what I'm seeing early out of Rockets. I'm excited for them.
All right, Tim Legler celebrates with Pops. All right.
They actually said I was right in the challenge, but that I took over the 30-second time to call it. So then 2 refs walked over to me and told me that means you don't win the challenge, but you get your timeout back. The arena actually put the extra timeout back up on the board. So we think we have 2 timeouts. I think it because 2 refs actually walked over to me and told all of our assistants and told our players. That's why everybody reacted, that I had a timeout, that I had an extra timeout. I think I have 2 timeouts. I call it. We have it. We come out of the huddle, and Tony Brothers walked out and says, "You have no more timeouts." So what do you mean we have no more? I still have one. He says, "No, when you called that timeout, you lost it." And what bugged me the most is the 2 officials who told me, they ran away. They just let Tony Brothers handle it. I mean, come on. You can't do that. You can't do that in a 4-point game. That could never happen. Can never happen. We didn't deserve to win with the way we were playing right now, offensively or defensively. But mistakes like that cannot happen on this level. That was awful. And the response is to throw me out. I didn't swear. I just said, this is nuts. That's a bad response as well. So it's disappointing.
I don't know if you noticed, but Austin was behind you, kind of telling the refs to tee you.
Yeah, well, he should. He should. I didn't care. I saw him, actually.
It was coming. I can see him. I've seen that look before many times. So once he starts blinking his eyes fast, that's when I know he's about to level up. So I just started telling Tony to get him. They got him. He's out of here.
You said Thanksgiving was going to be weird, but you actually played them one more time before Thanksgiving.
Then that would be, I doubt we'll go to dinner or anything like that. He actually is sensitive to stuff like that, so we'll see what happens. But I love him. It was a really good moment, though. I enjoyed it a lot. I'm not gonna lie to you. I really did enjoy that. It was fun.
All right, I'm sure that'll be discussed around the family Thanksgiving table. And there's this, right? The Clippers' turning point came when Patrick Beverley fouled out of the game. Good defender. Beverly was on the court. The Clips were a +7, held the Rockets to 33% shooting from the floor. Didn't shoot much better than that for the entire game. When he was off the court, they were outscored by 16. Harden's 47 and his late flurry in the fourth quarter discussed here.
So even better, 17 points for you in the fourth quarter, and you weren't feeling that well. Just kind of, what gear is it that you go to?
Killer mentality. Some people know, some people have it, some people don't. And the shots aren't always going to fall in, but if you have the right mindset, good things happen for you.
You talking about James, 44, 47? 47. Oh. Have Bev trick y'all, man, like he play defense. He don't guard nobody, man. Just running around, doing nothing. It's not. As you've seen, what happened, 47. All that commotion to be a 47.
The inconsistency of calls is very inconsistent. And home or away, it's hard to win games that way.
So the inconsistency.
He's doing it for effect.
Got it. Harden closed the door on the Clippers Wednesday, scored all 17 of his fourth quarter points in the final 6 minutes of the game. We heard that from Lisa Salters, and that outscored the Clippers' entire team. They had 9 over his last 3 games. Harden averaging 15.7 points per game in the fourth quarter. And, you know, always a good day when Tim Legler's looking at tape in the lab. Here's Timmy.
Just when you thought you'd seen the best of James Harden, he has taken it to a completely different level offensively. No one in the league can control a game the way that James Harden can. The question was, could he do it against a great defense in the LA Clippers? Answer is yes. And you look for what James Harden's going to do down the stretch, making the biggest plays. Now, if you're the Clippers, you got exactly the right guy on him. Kawhi Leonard, who didn't guard him a lot throughout the game, but now you're going to put him on James Harden late for the key possessions. But take a look at the way James Harden reads this defense. As the double team comes and Tyson Chandler clears out, this defender going airborne now is basically going to, one, block Kawhi Leonard out of the play and make him now have to trail James Harden. But the other thing it does, it allows him to get around the corner as that defender gets airborne because he's not planted on the ground. So even though Kawhi Leonard gets back into the play, by the time he does, James Harden has the angle on him to take this all the way to the rim. And James Harden, once again, controlling the game, the foul line, at the rim and beyond the arc. Here's the biggest dagger of the game now, 4-point lead. And if you're the Clippers, you love to do this. Patrick Beverley was doing it all night. You want to make James Harden work as much as possible by picking him up in the backcourt. The problem is, if that's going to happen and a screen is going to get set, you better make sure your next line defender is up and ready to engage James Harden when he comes off the screen. It's not exactly what happens here. He turns a corner, and as he starts going downhill, you see the way the defender's feet are going in this direction. That's all James Harden wants. He's going to stop on a dime. Now he knows there's no way you can shift your weight back. All he has to do is rise up and take this shot. Knocks down the biggest shot of the game, 7-point lead, minute and a half to go. James Harden with 30.
As we showed you a bit ago, the Rockets beat the LA Clippers tonight 102-93. Not before some late-game sideline fireworks that got Doc Rivers ejected. This is all part of the coach's challenge, this new experimental rule, which, you know, is going to have its growing pains. Not everybody loves it so far. A little backstory, Doc Rivers, you'll hear him explain, tried to call a timeout to challenge play. Apparently took too long, and eventually he got ejected. He picks up story from there.
Doc, just for clarification, what happened there at the end of the game?
The refs screwed up. I made a challenge. They actually said I was right in the challenge, but that I took over the 30-second time to call it. So then two refs walked over to me and told me that means you don't win challenge, but you get your timeout back. The arena actually put the extra timeout back up on the board. So we think we have 2 timeouts. I think because 2 refs actually walked over to me and told all of our assistants and told our players. That's why everybody reacted that I had a timeout, that I had an extra timeout. I think I have 2 timeouts. I call it. We have it. We come out of the huddle, and Tony Brothers walked up and says, "You have no more timeouts." So what do you mean we have no more? I still have one. He says, "No, when you called that timeout, you lost it." Now, listen, I'm fine with that if they had told me, but the officials can't tell me that I get my timeout back and then have me use it and then tell me after the fact you don't have it. That was big. I mean, those mistakes cannot happen. And what bugged me the most is the two officials who told me they ran over away. They just let Tony Brothers handle it. I mean, come on. You can't do that. You can't do that in a 4-point game. That could never happen. Can never happen. We didn't deserve to win with the way we were playing right now, offensively or defensively. But mistakes like that cannot happen on this level. That was awful. And the response is to throw me out. I didn't swear. I just said, "This is nuts." That's a bad response as well. So it's disappointing.
Did they give you an explanation why they threw you out?
No, he said because I was challenging their wrong decision, I guess. I don't know. There was a lot of griping all games, so my guess is they were tired of all of us. But when you make a mistake like that, you can't then throw the coach out. Like, you got to own up to your mistakes. We own up to ours. I just told you we didn't play good basketball. I got to do a better job with our offense. I'm owning up to it. They should own up to it.